Hello, my name is Anakaren Murguia, and this is my student art critique video analysis. I will be analyzing paintings by both Magnus Zeller and Henri Matisse. The 20th century saw a vast creation of different types of art movements. Surrealism, Fauvism, Cubism, Futurism, Modernism, Impressionism, etc. One such art movement, however, that was also popular during the 20th century was best known as Expressionism. This art movement, known as Expressionism, lasted from 1905 to 1920. It originated in Germany and Austria. Expressionism then spread all throughout Northern Europe. Expressionism can best be described as artwork that is painted from the subjective perspective of the artist and that expresses the emotions, feelings, and ideas of the artist. It serves as a mirror to the artist's inner world through its distortions, exaggerations, disproportionate sizes, extreme angles, intense colors, and flattened forms. Some artists who are known for their expressionist art include Wassily Kandinsky, Ernst Ludwig Kirchner, Franz Marc, and Edvard Munch. Expressionism was created as a reaction to Impressionism. While the Impressionists wanted to showcase the wonders of nature and the human form, Expressionists wanted to express their feelings or emotions through their art about what they saw. Furthermore, the first German Expressionist artists felt dissatisfied with the Industrial Revolution and viewed it as dehumanizing and isolating. They also believed that Impressionist art was superficial, inauthentic, and emotionless. Since German Expressionists felt a sense of detachment, loss, and disconnection with the world and art around them, they created Expressionism, a type of art that is an expression of an emotional response happening in the inner world of the artist. Another such important art movement is Post-Impressionism. This art movement lasted from between 1886 and 1905. Post-Impressionism rejected Impressionism's concern with the spontaneous and naturalistic rendering of light and color. Post-Impressionists played an emphasis on more symbolic content, formal order, and structure. Post-Impressionist art included stronger contours, solid shapes, and was more likely to emphasize geometric forms than Impressionism. Post-Impressionism also included distorted forms for expressive effect and unnatural or altered colors. Some examples of artists who experimented with Post-Impressionism were Vincent van Gogh, Henri Rousseau, Paul Gauguin, Paul Cézanne, and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. Both Expressionism and Post-Impressionism were avant-garde movements, new, innovative, and groundbreaking. An avant-garde artist that is not talked about or mentioned much is Magnus Zeller. Magnus Zeller was a German expressionist artist who was born on August 9, 1888 in Mansfeld, Germany. He comes from a family of Protestant pastors, which includes his father. Therefore, Christianity and Christian symbols had a major influence on his work. In 1908, Zeller started to study under Lovis Corinth, who was a German artist and writer. Zeller ended up being drafted into World War I and served in the German army. The horrors and atrocities of war changed his artistic imagery. In 1923, Zeller taught graphic art and drawing in Estonia for 3 semesters. Unfortunately, one day on his trip to Paris, his wife, Marina Zimmermann, died of typhus, leaving him a single father to their daughter Suzanne. He expressed his grief and mourning of his wife through his artwork. He remarried to a woman named Helga Niebage, and they had 2 children, Helga and Conrad. Furthermore, when World War II started, Zeller refused to be used by the Nazi Party to spread propaganda, and he refused to join the Nazi Party even though he was demanded to. Adolf Hitler then labeled Zeller as a, quote, degenerate artist, and Zeller was prohibited from exhibiting and selling his art. Therefore, he went into isolation in the house in Capeth, in the vicinity of Potsdam. Zeller created artwork that critiqued Hitler and the Nazis. He also created something known as an evil book, which was a sketchbook filled with about 30 pages of anti-Nazi content. His second wife, Helga, ended up divorcing him and lived with her son Conrad in her hometown of Hamburg. Zeller died on February 25th, 1972, in East Berlin. Furthermore, on the other hand, an avant-garde artist that is fairly well known and popular is Henri Matisse. He was born on December 31st, 1869, in Le Cateau-Cambrésis, France. Matisse grew up in Bouan-Vermandois and studied law in Paris from 1887 to 1888. However, in 1890, when Matisse was in the process of slowly recovering from appendicitis, he began to develop an interest in painting. By 1891 or 1892, Matisse had abandoned law and he went to Paris to study art formally. He studied art at the Académie Julian, and then he also studied at École des Beaux-Arts with Gustave Mauveau. Matisse was influenced by the artists Paul Gauguin, Paul Cézanne, and Vincent van Gogh. In 1898, Matisse married Amélie Noélie Paré. The two ended up raising Matisse's daughter, Marguerite Duché-Faux, a daughter that he ended up having with his girlfriend and model, Camille Jobliou. Therefore, Amélie Matisse was Marguerite's stepmother. Also, Amélie and Henri ended up having two sons, Jean Matisse and Pierre Matisse. Marguerite and Amélie would pose as models for Matisse's artwork. His wife Amélie would later divorce Matisse in 1939 due to suspecting that he was having an affair with Lydia Delektorskaya, who also worked as a model for Matisse. In 1901, Matisse exhibited his art at the Salon des Indépendants in Paris and met another future leader of the Fauve movement, Maurice de Vlaminck. Also in 1904, Matisse's first solo show took place at the Gallery Volat. People such as Leo and Gertrude Stein, along with Etta and Claribel Cohn, began to collect his artwork. In addition, Matisse was one of the first painters who took an interest in primitive art. Matisse abandoned the impressionistic style of art in favor of his own style, bright colors and fluid lines. The subjects in his paintings were mostly interiors, women, and still lifes. In 1913, his artwork was included in the Armory Show in New York, and by 1923, Sergei Shukin and Ivan Morozov had purchased almost 50 of his paintings. Moreover, from the early 1920s until 1939, Matisse spent most of his time between the south of France and Paris. During this time, he worked on paintings, sculptures, etchings, lithographs, and murals. He also worked on designs for tapestries and set or costume designs for Léonide Massin's ballet Rouge et Noir. Furthermore, as Matisse was recovering from two major surgeries in 1941 and 1942, Matisse started working on an art technique that he had come up with earlier in his life, paper cutouts. In 1947, Matisse also published his own book titled Jazz, which included prints of paper cutouts and his written thoughts. Then in 1948, Matisse began the design for the decoration of Chapelle du Rosé in Vence, France, which was completed and consecrated in 1951. That same year, a collection of his artwork was exhibited in museums around the United States, such as the Museum of Modern Art in New York, along with museums in other US-based locations. In 1952, Matisse was inaugurated at his birthplace. In his old age, Matisse continued to make large paper cutouts, the last which was a design for the rose window at Union Church of Pocantico Hills, New York. Matisse died on November 3, 1954, in Nice, France, of a heart attack. First and foremost, an example of one of Magnus Zeller's artworks is a painting of his titled The Orator. This artwork of Zeller's was released to the public in 1920. It is an oil on canvas painting with dimensions 165.1 by 215.27 by 4.45 centimeters. It is considered to be an expressionist artwork. In an artist's placard of the painting by the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, it notes the aftermath of Germany's defeat in World War I, its subsequent downfall, and the start of a nationwide revolution. Artists believed that they could use their art to bring about a positive change in society through creating art that demanded political change. Zeller's artwork is described in the following manner, and I quote, "Idealism gave way to disillusionment as the revolution grew violent and the new Republican government failed to realize its lofty ambitions. In the Orator, Zeller portrays the religious dimension of modern politics, which incites ecstatic devotion in its followers." End quote. The speaker in this painting is said to have been inspired by the communist leader Karl Liebknecht. Moving forward in examining the element of light in this painting, it is noticeable how light helps create a sense of drama and excitement within the painting that is then projected onto the viewers. First of all, there is a source of light that is hitting the speaker in the painting, who is the main focus of attention. He is standing on a table or a platform with his hands raised up, and light is hitting him from an unknown source, possibly a window. He almost looks like he's lifting his hands in worship, and it's as if the light of God is shining down upon him in great admiration or approval. His head is also lifted up, possibly into the heavens, with his eyes closed in praise of God. In addition, the speaker or orator in this painting represents a Jesus-like figure. This reminds me of Matthew chapter 3, verse 16, in which Jesus gets baptized in the Jordan River, and as soon as he gets up out of the water, the heavens open up, the Holy Spirit descends on him, and God's light is shining down on him. Then in Matthew chapter 3, verse 17, it says, and I quote, "And lo, a voice from heaven saying, 'This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.'" End quote. The speaker is reminiscent of this scene in the Bible, almost as if Zeller is portraying the speaker as if he is some sort of God that his followers worship. There's also light that is hitting the audience's hands as their hands are all raised up in the air, offering their worship to the speaker. They're hailing him and treating him as some sort of God or Jesus-like figure. In addition, another element that is observable in this painting is color. The colors that are prominent in this painting are brown, blue, green, red or orange, and white. Notice how the speaker or orator is in green and the audience is mostly in red or orange, with a few people in green and blue. This creates a stark separation between the speaker and the audience. He is elevated from the audience, and the audience is seen as beneath him. Also, Zeller's painting includes complementary colors. Red and green are opposite on the color wheel, and blue and orange are also opposite on the color wheel. These color combinations complement each other and offer a stark contrast, which adds visual interest to the painting. Furthermore, the colors red and orange are considered warm colors, meanwhile the colors blue and green are considered cool colors. The combination of these warm and cool colors create a sense of space, depth, movement, and perspective. In addition, when both warm and cool colors are used in the same artwork, the warm colors appear advanced and seem closer to the viewer, meanwhile cool colors recede into the background. Moreover, warm colors like red and orange can represent passion, excitement, liveliness, and vigor as seen in the audience in this painting. On the other hand, cold colors, like blue and green can represent calmness, tranquility, stillness, and relaxation as seen in the speaker or orator in this painting. In addition, white is a neutral color and represents innocence, purity, holiness, and spirituality, as seen in the light shining down on the public speaker. And lastly, brown is considered a warm, neutral color, and it represents strength, reliability, stability, security, safety, and resilience. This makes sense because the stage that the orator is standing on is brown, meaning that the orator serves as a source of hope, strength, safety, and stability for his followers amidst the chaos that surrounds them. Nevertheless, another element that is important to focus on in this painting is lines. For instance, if the public speaker's raised up hands are connected along with his chest or torso, then it creates an upside-down triangle. Additionally, the speaker's legs are spread apart, and if his spread legs connect to his groin or crotch area, then it also creates a triangle, but this time it's a triangle that is right side up. His body is composed of two triangles that connect to each other when both triangles' vertical points intersect. The triangle at the top is upside down, and the triangle at the bottom is right side up. Triangles are made of three sides. The number 3 represents the Holy Trinity. The orator's raised hands can be referencing Christ being crucified on the cross. The orator is offering himself as a sacrifice, so to speak, in order to offer hope for his followers. Furthermore, the people's raised hands in the audience are pointing in the direction of the orator. This is a signifier that leads the human eye from the people's raised hands and moves it to the direction it's pointing at, which is towards the left of the painting where the orator stands. Therefore, the viewer's eyes are led to the public speaker thanks to the direction of the raised hands in the audience. They are pointing or leading left towards him. On the other hand, when the viewer's eyes look at the speaker's raised hands, his hands point or lead towards something greater than him and something outside him, such as God or heaven. This painting is ironic because the people in the audience have their hands raised towards the speaker, elevating him to a religious figure that is to be reverenced or worshipped. Meanwhile, the speaker himself has his hands raised towards God or heaven in what appears to be worship of the divine. It's like a hierarchy of worship. The audience worships the public speaker, who in turn worships God. Furthermore, the lines on everyone's clothes in this painting create the illusion of texture. Their clothes look like they're wrinkled. Their clothes don't look like they were just painted onto their body. Their clothes look real, like three-dimensional objects. Lastly, the lines that make up the people's bodies are sharp yet realistic. They have a realistic human shape to them. The faces also have a sense of realism to them. Lastly, if you take the historical context of this painting into mind, along with Zeller's background, then this artwork can be interpreted as people looking for a politician or political leader to look up to, follow, and to admire in the midst of political turmoil and upheaval. People are looking for a political figure who has the power to change society and bring peace or harmony in the midst of destruction and chaos. This type of mindset is present even now. People are still looking to political leaders, political figures, or politicians to fix the world, so to speak, and to pledge their loyalty to. It's a tale as old as time. When things get rough, people want someone to look to as a savior. Subsequently, an example of one of Henri Matisse's artworks is a painting of his titled Tea. This artwork was released to the public in 1919. It is an oil on canvas painting, and its dimensions are 140.34 by 211.3 centimeters. It is considered to be a post-impressionist artwork. In Alta Journal, Hygiene Yu, a fellow artist, felt inspired by this particular Matisse painting and describes him in the following manner, and I quote, "His work is known for its color, abstraction, and reminiscences of his personal experiences. Matisse's paintings contain countless everyday elements that he returns to, repeatedly to find something new in each encounter. These objects create an intimacy and interact with the space that he fills with a variety of patterns and often the white of exposed canvas." End quote. Matisse creates art that can connect and relate to the everyday common man, and that is a part of his appeal to the masses. In addition, one of the elements that helps comprise his painting is light. In this painting, there are two women, one of his models, Antoinette Arnaud, and his daughter, Margaret, along with his dog, Lily. Based on the contents of the painting, along with the painting's title, Antoinette and Margaret are in Matisse's backyard or patio, sitting in the shade, relaxing, and having a cup of tea, maybe some lemonade as well, since there are lemons on the table and what looks to be a pitcher. Matisse's dog, Lily, is also relaxing in the shade. The two women are seated under trees which provide shade from the sun, therefore sunlight is being blocked. However, if you look on the pavement of the walkway where the dog is laying, you can see how some of the sunlight is passing through the trees and is lighting up different parts of the pavement on the walkway. There are spots of sunlight hitting the ground on the walkway near the dog and near one of the woman's feet. Also, if you look at the grass in the background, the sunlight is hitting the grass directly. It's a sunny day. The grass is not shaded. It's being directly lit by the sun. Therefore, the light in this painting is natural light, light from the sun, since the two women and the dog are outside. The light in this painting is realistic. The light isn't directly hitting the two women seated at the rounded table. They're being shaded by the sun from the trees around them, along with the dog. However, some sunlight is still seeping through the gaps in the trees and is lighting up some spots on the walkway. Meanwhile, the grass in the open field in the background is being directly hit by sunlight. The way the light is shown in this painting is realistic and natural. Moreover, another element in Matisse's painting that is apparent is color. The colors that are used in this painting are different shades of green, brown, beige, black, white, yellow, blue, gray, and terracotta. Most of this painting is in green due to the abundance of leafy trees and grass, which is a cool color. Green symbolizes growth, fertility, rebirth, renewal, health, and nature. The color green is usually associated with positive things except for greed. The rest of the painting is mostly in warm colors such as brown, beige, yellow, and terracotta. The color brown symbolizes sustainability, reliability, simplicity, and security. Meanwhile, beige symbolizes comfort, wisdom, trust, and tranquility. On the other hand, yellow symbolizes happiness, intelligence, optimism, hope, energy, and joy. Terracotta is associated with agriculture and nourishing the earth. It also symbolizes comfort and relaxation. In addition, blue and gray, along with green, as mentioned before, are cool colors. Blue symbolizes freedom, sensitivity, imagination, intuition, peace, and loyalty. The color gray symbolizes neutrality, modesty, indifference, conservatism, and compromise or control. Furthermore, the colors black and white are considered neutral colors. Gray is also considered a neutral, with brown being considered a warm neutral color. Black symbolizes elegance, wealth, power, restraint, authority, and sophistication. If you notice the attire of the woman whose back is towards the viewer on the right, she has black high heels, a black choker necklace, and is holding something black in her hand, maybe a hat. This symbolizes that this particular woman is most likely wealthy. She may come from a rich family that has lots of connections. She also gives off an aura of being stylish, fashionable, and dignified. She's a classy woman who is of high status. The blue flower pattern on her white dress may subtly tell the viewer something about this woman's personality. Maybe she's a highly sensitive, educated, and intuitive woman. She has depth to her character and personality. She is more than her looks. Meanwhile, white symbolizes perfection, honesty, wholeness, and divinity. Both women are wearing white dresses, possibly symbolizing that they are both honorable, clean, chaste, pure women. They're Madonnas or good girls. At least that's how they're portrayed. The colors brown, green, and terracotta are very earthy colors that are common in nature. Blue is seen in the earth's oceans, brown is seen in the earth's land, and terracotta is seen in dirt or clay. Yellow symbolizes spring or summer, not only because of the sun, but because some yellow fruits are grown during the spring or summer season, symbolizing rebirth and renewal. The cool colors, blue and green, and the warm colors, brown, yellow, beige, and terracotta, are opposites on the color wheel, making them complementary colors. These color combinations of both warm and cool colors offer strong contrast in the painting. This helps create a sense of depth, sense, and movement in the painting. The cool colors also recede into the background, meanwhile the warm colors appear advanced or they appear closer to the viewer. This creates a visual interest in the painting. Last but not least, another element to be focused on in this painting is line. For instance, if the dog and the two women sitting across from each other on the rounded table are connected, then it creates a triangle. Triangles have three sides, and the number 3 is considered a perfect number, which symbolizes completeness, perfection, or wholeness. The number 3 can also symbolize the mind-body-soul connection, which adds an element of spirituality to the painting. The number 3 can also represent the birth, life, death cycle, or the cycle of life. Also, there are at least 3 tree stems or tree trunks. One of the tree stems is in the forefront of the painting, while the other 2 tree stems are in the background. The placement of these tree stems adds to the illusion of depth and perspective. This makes the painting look 3-dimensional and not 2-dimensional. It's an imitation or representation of how the scene would look like in real life. Furthermore, if all 3 tree stems or trunks are connected, then it also forms a triangle. Triangles are commonly used in the composition of art, such as in this artwork, in order to create a sense of order, balance, and harmony. The tree stems also frame the two women, making them the focal point of interest and making them the center of attention. In addition, the parallel lines that make up the entrance of the walkway lead the eye. The eye either looks straight at both of the women first, then the dog, then the entrance of the walkway, leading the eye all the way to the grassy area, or the eye either first looks at the grassy area in the background, then the eye follows the entrance of the walkway to the dog, then to the two women. Either way, the parallel lines that make up the entrance of the walkway in this painting help lead the eyes to the subjects in this painting and vice versa. Lastly, this painting has no in-depth meaning. It's just a painting of two women, possibly high-class or rich women, sitting outside in a shaded area of the backyard or patio, drinking tea and or lemonade. They're relaxing in the shade along with the dog Lily. It's a nice spring or summer day, and they are enjoying nature and the outdoors, while also staying cool and refreshed or hydrated. The woman on the right, whose back is towards the viewer, has one of her black high heels slipping off of her foot, which could mean that she is comfortable and isn't taking herself too seriously in that moment. She can be herself without putting up any masks, disguises, or farces that would obstruct her personality or character. Since the women in this painting are one of Matisse's models and his daughter, maybe they are friends or acquaintances, visiting each other after not seeing each other for a while, or maybe they are meeting each other for the very first time, getting ready to collaborate with Matisse on a new artwork or project of his. The dog is Matisse's pet, and he or she is also relaxing in the shade as well. It's a pretty self-explanatory painting. In brief, the 20th century saw a rapid change in society, which eventually led to changes in art. As noted by the avant-arte, in the 20th century, the art world embarked on a journey that fully embraced the novelty and dynamism of a rapidly changing era. This period saw resounding rejection of conventional notions of realistic representation and traditional aesthetic norms. Instead, it gave rise to a multitude of innovative styles. End quote. During the 20th century, artists sought to break traditional artistic norms and boundaries and decided to step out of their comfort zone and make art that was unique and totally different from anything anyone had seen before. This makes sense because seeing familiar copies of the same thing over and over again gets boring. People get bored easily and want to be exposed to something new, something revolutionary and groundbreaking. Therefore, when new innovative art movements like Cubism, Surrealism, Abstract Expressionism, Fauvism, and others came out, they stood out from amongst a sea of art. They stood out because they broke the traditional or conventional ideas of what makes a piece of art, quote, good art. They broke these boundaries and experimented with different art styles. These new art styles would have most likely been seen as sacrilegious or blasphemous in the art world before the 20th century. But once artists stopped trying to tick off check marks when it comes to creating art, they were greatly accepted by the general public. New is not always bad. Moreover, art is just as important now as it was last century, hundreds of years ago, or even thousands of years ago. Art helps influence the social fabric of society. Technology may now run the world and make life easier and more comfortable, but art is part of the passion, soul, and emotions that helps bind humanity together. Art starts from deep within the inner workings of the artist and acts as a mirror to their inner world. Art is what differentiates humans from automated robots or artificial intelligence. Automated robots and artificial intelligence may serve as good machines or pieces of technology, but true or real art is something conjured up by the beauty of the human mind and spirit, something that a robot or a piece of technology will never 100% replicate. It may come close to replicating it, but it still falls short as it is not the same. Art fosters creativity, empathy, and imagination. It sparks up the creative part of people, the part that is usually turned off or repressed in day-to-day life. Art is important in order to help nurture a healthy society, a society that is in touch with themselves and with others. Thank you.